Welcome to Life Recovery Today, brought to you by New Life. If you're feeling stuck in addiction, grief, anxiety, or broken relationships, you're not alone. Over the next half hour, you'll discover practical tools and biblical truth from the 12 steps of life recovery, designed to help you heal, grow, and thrive. Because recovery isn't just about what you're giving up, it's about who you're becoming. Whether you're new to recovery or looking to go deeper, we have resources to guide you. Bibles, workbooks, devotionals, and real stories of transformation. You can start your journey today on your own, in a group, or through your church. Visit newlife.com or call 1-800-NEW-LIFE to take the next step. This is your time for healing, hope, and freedom. This is Life Recovery Today.
Hi there, Steve Arterburn here, and welcome to Life Recovery Today. Now, I love today's material because it comes from one of my very, very favorite books, Healing is a Choice. Misty helped me put this book together, and I think, I don't know, of all the books, probably more people have said this had something in it for them. And today we're really going to talk about the part of this book that is so powerful if you'll do it. You know, whenever we're in recovery, things start to get exposed. Feelings start to happen. Maybe we didn't even know they were there because they'd been numbed by the addiction. Well, in this very first segment, we explore this idea that we need to face and explore our feelings. What's the opposite? Well, you never bury feelings dead. You bury them alive. And they have to be fed with drugs, food, gambling, adrenalized experiences. We don't want that. Well, today we're going to talk about facing them so we don't try to bury them, and then they rise up at a time when it is most difficult for us to deal with them. So here we are, Healing is a Choice, talking about exploring the feelings, facing what we find, and using them to grow, maybe beyond what we ever thought we could grow. We're going to go a little bit deeper today into Healing is a Choice. It's a great book. There's a workbook attached to it. And, right off the bat, the last time we were together, we talked about this choice to connect with other people. Well, the second choice, you might say, well, maybe the second choice should have been the first one, because the second choice is the choice to feel. And you might say, well, why is that a choice? Well, it's a choice because a lot of times, rather than feel the things that we need to feel, we cut off those feelings. Now, when I was abandoned, I would say, or divorced, when she left, I want you to know I felt. It felt like an ice pick through my heart. The pain, searing, hard pain. And it was in counseling that I discovered that pain was not anger at her. In fact, I really could care less. I mean, that was what it was all about. I couldn't care less. And it wasn't shame either, but it was fear. I didn't even know that fear could hurt, but boy, did it ever, because I just thought everything was lost, no hope. Boy, was I ever wrong about that. So feeling is a really, really important part of life. Feelings have a purpose. They can provide the very thing that we need to know about ourselves. Now, before I married my wife, she was a single mom and a very busy one at that. She had 2 boys, 5 and 6, Carter and James, and she she bought her own little house. And it was just, when I saw her house, I admired her so much that she, as a single mother who had been in a really tough marriage that led to divorce, that she was able to buy this house on her own. But she was very busy working, supporting these kids, and before they were 7 years old, she had already read through all the Chronicles of Narnia. It was bizarre. She had already read through one of the kids' Bibles with them. And And so she was busy. Sometimes when you're busy, you miss things. And she had a Ford Taurus. And I remember riding in this Ford Taurus. And I said to her one day, hey, there is a red light on the dashboard there that indicates there is an engine problem. And she said, oh, I know, I have got to get that light fixed because the thing is, it's always on. I said, yeah, okay, well, all right. It was a new relationship. I didn't feel like I was the one to be giving her advice. Well, I got a call about a day later after I returned to California. She was going down the highway, and all of a sudden she wasn't going down the highway anymore. The red light indicated that she was low on oil, and going down the highway, she became oilless. And so the engine just locked up and was ruined forever. It cost $3,500 to put a new engine in an old Taurus like that. That's what she had to pay because she didn't get it, that light was really telling her something she needed to know. Your feelings are telling you something that you need to know. A lot of people during the COVID epidemic, they needed to feel a little bit of fear because that would lead them to a little bit of hand sanitizer and a little bit of a face mask and distance and all of that. But people that weren't afraid were just acting like there was no problem whatsoever. And what a sad thing that is. Now, if you're going to feel, you're going to be just like Jesus. Now, when he was in the Garden of Gethsemane, we all know that story, where he felt so deeply what he was about to do or feeling the sins of the world upon him that he sweat drops of blood. He was feeling. And then, when his buddy Lazarus died, he cried over that. So he was a man of emotion. And I so honor him for that because he didn't just tell us what to do. He showed us how to be full of grief. In Isaiah 53, it says he was a man of sorrows and acquainted with the bitterest of grief. I was fortunate enough to get to do a devotional for Congress, and during that time there was a man who, in a press secretary or something like that, that died. And they had the funeral, and I stayed there for the funeral. And one of the people got up and said, this was God's plan, and here are the little children sitting there. God's plan, and I'm so glad that he's in a safer, better place, and we just need to honor him and find a way to be at peace with all of this. The next guy got up and said, I am angry. This man was one of the greatest dads, one of the greatest professionals, and he is not here anymore, and I am angry. And I just thought, boy, isn't that healthy? You rarely ever hear or see something like that at a funeral. But I think that's what those kids needed to hear, that it'd be okay for them to be angry, even angry at God. And then you come to understand that this is life outside the garden. Nobody promised it'd be without problems or pain. You come to see that. You come to see that God never said he'd protect us from the pain or the problems, but he'd wipe away the tears. He would be there to comfort us. So it's important that we feel the full depths of our emotions. Some people will just lie to themselves and they'll tell them, I just need to do the right thing. And how I feel doesn't really matter. It matters. Those feelings, they have information. Those feelings, they have a purpose. And when we drink them away or drug them away or work them away or whatever it is, when we miss it, we're really missing something that could so valuably point us in the areas of our life that we need to go to work on.
It's hard to find a trusted friend when you're in crisis. someone who's been there and understands, but who also has the training and skill to give you practical help. Family, friends, and churches want to help, but often they're not equipped to care for those dealing with problems like addiction and pornography, infidelity, anger, depression. New Life Ministries is here to provide help and hope in life's hardest places. We're not focused on making people feel better. We're focused on helping people do the work that will help them be better. At New Life, we have resources available to help you, like books, DVDs, CDs, workshops, and our network of licensed counselors. If you need help, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE and begin your new life today.
Welcome back. Now, in recovery, remember, it's not just about addiction. The steps work and recovery works. It's a discipleship, it's a growth program. It works no matter what the obstacle that we're facing. Now, it's a great excuse to stop and return to whatever it is, like sinking again down in depression, letting our lives be ruled by anxiety. It's so tempting to go back that way, but there is a better way. And the Bible says if you do this, you receive the crown of life. So you don't have to be victorious, you just have to persevere. In this segment, we're going to explore what it means to persevere. Well, what does it mean? Well, it means to get through it. And recovery isn't just about getting through it, it's about getting over it and getting beyond it. But right now, it's not giving up and persevering through the tough stuff. Now, the Bible is really clear. It says, those who persevere will receive the crown of life. But you know what a lot of people think persevere means? They think it means just keep trying what I've been doing over and over again, even though I failed at it over and over again. Just stay at it. Well, don't do that. That's not going to help you. When we persevere, we trust in God enough to try a different strategy. We don't just try harder, because you may have heard me say this before. Trying harder makes trying harder. And so in and of myself, I might not be able to do it, but I can persevere if I have a support group, if I have a Bible study I can go to, if there's a recovery group I can go to, if there's a therapist that can help me, a friend. A lot of different things can help me in the persevering process. And there are examples of people who simply have not persevered. Maybe because they thought there was no hope or it was too much. Interesting passage, the number John 6:66 or John 6, 66th verse. You know what that verse says? It says, and there were those that followed him, and it says they turned away and followed him no more. Ooh, wouldn't it be horrible if that was the verse of the Bible that represented your life? I think that'd be pretty bad. So we know that people give up. We know that folks turn away. We also know that people doubt. In fact, one of the greatest person to ever walk the face of the earth was John the Baptist. And John the Baptist, sitting there in prison right before he was beheaded, he sent a messenger to Jesus. Are you truly the Messiah, or should we be looking for someone else? Boy, I don't blame him for doubting. And maybe you're in a prison, emotional, spiritual, or a real prison, and you doubt God. Well, doubt. God can handle it. Just don't give up. There, 2 Corinthians 4:17 says this, for momentary light affliction, it's producing for us an eternal weight of glory beyond all comparison. So whatever this little thing is, it seems so big, but compared to eternity, it's not. But we're going to receive something far more valuable for it. And then 2 Corinthians 4:17 in the Message reads this way, these hard times are small potatoes compared to the coming good times, the lavish celebration prepared for us. Man, that's pretty spectacular right there. So when you are hopeless, when you are wanting to give up, don't give up. Just keep on persevering. And just say, you know, one more day. I've just got to go one more day. Or today I can truly try a different strategy, a different way of succeeding. Maybe it's this. Maybe, and I always discount this, where people try to accuse you of some kind of unconfessed sin or some private problem that you have and they're blaming all your woes on it. But what if that was it? You know, maybe we should take a look at that. And if that is the problem, then we need to work on that problem and we need to fix that particular problem. Maybe you have found an excuse to separate yourself from other people, thinking they don't love you or they're going to reject you or you don't need them. Well, we need people. And so we go right back to one of those other healing choices like connection or getting help for yourself that enable you to do choice number 10. And that's the choice to persevere. The big lie that there's no hope, don't buy into that. Do you think that's coming from God? Absolutely not. There is always hope. No matter what horrible situation you get in, there is hope. Now, if you need some help finding that hope, or maybe you want a copy of this book, you can call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE, and we will help you go deeper into transforming your life into a life of maybe frustration, hopelessness, just one calamity after another, to a life where things start to get pretty good. That's what we would hope for you.
Life recovery isn't just about making the courageous choice to give up an addiction or dependency. It's a journey towards health, wholeness, and becoming your very best you. If you need resources to help you in your journey, we can help. There are many life recovery resources that you can do on your own, with a group, or with your church. We have Bibles, workbooks, and devotionals that you can use to work your recovery right where you are. That's the beauty of life recovery. To learn more or to get the Life Recovery Bible or any other life recovery resource, visit liferecoverytoday.net or call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. 1-800-NEW-LIFE.
Welcome back. You know, there is a way to ever prevent being humiliated in any situation. You know what it is? Humility is the thing that prevents humiliation. If I can humble down myself, then nothing in the outside world is going to humiliate me. Seems strange, but what a power it is to walk humbly. Sometimes I've been able to do some really wonderful things, and I was able to be humble through it because I had failed on my own without God really being part of it. So I never thought it was me doing it. I knew God stepped in and said, this is me. Well, many times humility is a brand new experience for people. But you can go from a brand new experience to a new way of life. And that's what I'm hoping for you. Here's humility. But today it's the letter H, and that doesn't stand for humiliation, which I have been an expert at. It stands for humility. I don't know of anybody that says anything negative about a person being humble. If it's authentic humility, not the kind where, you know, someone says, man, that is just a gorgeous painting that you created there. And then the person says, well, it's just the Lord. No, you had a gift from God, but then you studied and this creativity inside of you, you used that creativity, and everything started from a willingness to do and use what God had given you. So that's false humility. But authentic humility, I got to tell you, my failures have helped me to be humble. I'm not humble in every area, but there's some things that I am authentically humble in because I have messed up so badly. And I know that anything that comes out of that is just an absolute gift from God. The humble person is able to say to themselves and to other people, I don't know everything about everything. And the things that I know about, I don't know perfectly well. The other day, I was talking to a young man and he said this to me. One day, people will look at the things that I have done, the things that I have read and listened and watched, and they will realize that I have been right about everything. That is not an exaggeration, like some of your preachers might do. No, that's the real thing that came out of a young man. Literally didn't see that someone might take offense or might judge or evaluate him in a negative way when he says, I've been right about everything. Humility says, I may not be right about everything. It says you are probably right about a lot of things, and maybe more things than me. And humility says this, we are all in this together. I have learned some things about recovery, and I've learned some things about counseling and psychology. I mean, I've been listening to some of the greatest minds for at least an hour every weekday. But I got to tell you, there's so much that I don't know. There's so much that I know that I can't even apply to my own life. That's just reality. And a lot of times there's an image that overrides any ability to be real, authentic, and humble. Person thinking nobody's going to watch my teaching on TV from my big shot church if I ever admit that I struggle. And yet I've found that it's in the admitting of struggle that people are drawn to us when we can talk about how we authentically deal with some of the downsides of life. An arrogant person doesn't know this, but I'm going to let you in on it if you are arrogant. We can see you. We can see you. You don't know this, but it's really obvious that you're compensating from some deep inferiority, some deep wound that you've got, some deep feeling of inadequacy. So we can see you. And arrogance is never something that Jesus would model or that Jesus would honor. Confidence, now that's a great thing to have. You believe in Christ, you're confident that He is the way, the truth, and the life. But humility doesn't go around spreading that arrogantly to people, but you are to people what people need you to be so you can connect. The other day on radio, we had a gentleman call. And he started, I said, how you doing today? And he started with, well, I awoke this morning with, this is a blessed day that God has given us today. Wasn't his exact words, but it's pretty close. So, when a person does that to me, I'm just thinking, what is the need for me, for them to think, well, you're the most spiritual, strong, biblically rooted, godly human being ever. I don't think that when somebody does that. I think, wow, what's going on with them? Well, here's what was going on with them. An estranged daughter for 12 years. What was the issue? Oh, it just happened to be an issue of her wanting no part of Jesus. And guess what his response was? Well, you get me, you get Jesus. Now, there's nothing wrong with that in and of itself, the attitude that I'm a Christian and you get me, you get Christianity. But would you say that to somebody that's been offended by even the word Jesus? Might humility lead us to say, oh, wow, that is painful for me to hear because I'm a believer in Jesus and I must have really messed up representing Him if you don't want any part of Jesus or anybody else who's speaking about Jesus. How have I offended you, or how have I avoided relationship with you by being so focused on and talking about my relationship with Christ? That's humility. It's not arrogance, and it's not superficiality. It's being a real person. So here's what I think a humble person would do. A humble person would look at the broken relationships or relationships full of conflict, and rather than defend their perspective, which what good's that going to do you in eternity, that you had appropriately defended or you won and yeah, ooh, that's amazing. Nothing. But rather than try to defend or look at how right you are, you look at the conflicts or you look at those relationships that are broken and you go and you ask them a simple question. What's it like being around me? How have I hurt our connection? It's a good way to say it. What could I do that would make me a more appealing person? What is hard to deal with in me? What would make it easier to be in a relationship with me? See, those are great questions if you're humble, and they're kind of stupid questions if you're not really sincere about humbly wanting to connect with another person. So, humility. It's a gift when you have it. It's a gift when you give it. And when you are a humble person, you are a gift in this very superficial and arrogant world. I want to thank you again for watching today. I hope you'll recommend that somebody else that might need the program watch. We've talked about a lot of things, and everything we've talked about applies to overeating. Here's a brand new resource for you. It's called 100 Days to Freedom from Overeating. And if this is your problem, it'd really be great for you to get this new resource. Here's a quote from my wife that's in here. It says, "Becoming fruitful in God's vineyard means following the deep pruning to take place that eventually produces a healthy harvest." We hate pruning, don't we? I know I do. But it's in that pruning process that God does the work that needs to be done. And if we weren't pruned, then, of course, more susceptible to disease, more susceptible to a lot of stuff going to unfruitful areas in our life. I sure hope that in your recovery, you're able to accept the pruning as just part of the process. It's pain that counts versus the pain that we were in that doesn't count at all. If you need help, please call us. Reach out at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. We'll tell you how to start a life recovery group, the resources, and all that. And until next time, I hope your recovery is strong in the Lord.
Thanks for joining us for Life Recovery Today, where we believe your past doesn't have to define your future. If you're ready to take the next step, we're here to help with Bibles, workbooks, devotionals, and more. Visit newlife.com or call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Your journey to healing and freedom can start right now. Until next time, stay hopeful, stay courageous, and keep moving forward.